February 2026 GPU prices have absolutely exploded, with NVIDIA GPUs vanishing from the market. Did NVIDIA lie about stopping production of the RTX 50 series GPUs? And should gamers buy now or wait? Welcome back to PC Builder, I'm Jason. This is our best graphics card to buy in February 2026. We're gonna go through those crazy 2026 GPU prices, the latest GPU news on what's happening in the GPU market, and we'll give our picks on the best budget graphics card, the best 1440p graphics card, and the best 4K graphics card to buy in February 2026. If you like this video, please give it a like and of course subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by Vantic B10 Pro Max Electric Air Duster. Every PC owner knows this struggle: dust in your fans, heat sinks, and keyboard. The B10 Pro Max blasts dust away at up to 65 meters per second with a brushless motor spinning up to 130,000 RPM. Need more power? Use the one-tap Mega Boost. Plus it runs up to 210 minutes and even doubles as a power bank for other devices. It's compact, has a smart display and LED light, and includes 4 nozzles and 2 brushes. Click the links in the description, select the Amazon coupon, and use code PCB10PMX for 50% off now. All right, let's jump straight into 2026 GPU prices taken at the beginning of February. And brace yourself because this is going to be quite shocking, especially if you wanted to buy an NVIDIA RTX 50 series GPU because they seem to be completely vanishing from the market. Let's jump into NVIDIA GPU pricing, starting with the RTX 5090, which recent reports said would likely hit a nearly $5,000 selling price. Is that for real? Looking at the massive $700 price increase in just 1 month for the lowest price RTX 5090 model, it seems we're well on track to see 5090 prices rise to that level very, very soon. In fact, most RTX 5090s, they're already near $4,000, if not above right now. Remember, NVIDIA claimed this card would MSRP for $1,999. Lol. All right, moving over to the RTX 5080, and this MSRP $999 graphics card hit pricing levels we haven't seen since its paper launch in early 2025. Currently, it's hard to find one under $1,400 US, and many models quickly jump up above $1,500. Now, this is a graphics card that as recently as December 2025 could be purchased for its $999 MSRP. Moving over to the controversial RTX 5070 Ti price, and right now, one model is $999, a whopping 33% price increase from last month. But stock appears very thin, and most models are selling for well over $1,000 US, and some even closer to $1,100 or more. It's been a couple of weeks since Hardware Unboxed reported that ASUS said it was moving RTX 5070 Ti products to essentially end of production, end of life status. Then NVIDIA and ASUS contradicted that report and said that, in fact, no, we're not ending 5070 Ti production. Did they lie? We'll talk about in the news section. Whatever the case, 5070 Ti's are currently selling above the RTX 5080 MSRP right now. Let that sink in. Moving over to the RTX 5070 pricing, and the news isn't getting any better here. Despite having 12 gigabytes of VRAM, which many thought would insulate it from these huge price hikes, currently the cheapest model is $620, about $100 higher than last month, and well above its $549 MSRP. The RTX 5060 Ti 16GB saw a massive 26% price increase since last month, with the cheapest model moving to $540, a nearly $100 price increase since last month. The only GPU to seemingly be spared and actually see a price decrease, the RTX 5060 Ti 8GB, woohoo, which fell to $329 from $349 in January. Meanwhile, the RTX 5060, it looks to be drying up pretty much everywhere, with a massive 31% price increase since it hit its $249 price last month, all the way up to $325 this month, making it essentially the same price as the RTX 5060 Ti 8GB. Ouch. And despite promises of increasing RTX 3060 12GB production, the price on that soared to an eye-watering $393, while the RTX 5050 and 3050 remained unchanged. All right, moving over to AMD Radeon GPU prices in February 2026. It's not the gaping pit of despair that we just saw with NVIDIA GPU prices, but there are still price increases happening. Starting off with the RX 9070 XT 16GB, we see the currently cheapest model is $719, though it does look like the Power Color Reaper model just sold out at $699. It was at that price yesterday, so it might come back to that price. Still, that represents just over 10% more expensive month over month, and other models in the 9070 XT get up to $750 pretty quickly. The RX 9070 16GB saw one of the smallest price increases in February, up to $599. But a number of models quickly reach up to $630. This GPU has struggled for an identity since its MSRP is supposed to only be $50 below the 9070 XT, That makes it terrible value if they're both MSRP, so we'll have to see if a $120 price gap makes it the go-to best 1440p GPU in 2026. Unfortunately for budget gamers looking to power into 1440p, the RX 9660 XT 16GB price, it also makes a massive 16% jump up from $379 last month to $440 for the cheapest model right now, with most models hovering around the $460 mark. And of course, the 8GB model also went up to over $300, similar to the RTX 5060. One relative bright spot in GPU pricing, it's Intel GPU pricing, particularly for the best graphics card under $200 category. So while the price of the Arc B580 12GB has floated up to about $290 US, the Arc B570 10GB model, it can still be had for just $199. You can also pick up older generation Arc A750 and A580 GPUs for right around $190, with occasional flash sales down to $160 for the A580. All right, GPU news time. What the heck is going on with graphics card prices in 2026? And will it get any better? Basically, it all gets back to AI, but goes beyond just VRAM price increases. Let's talk specifically about the RTX 5070 Ti drama. It is now crystal clear that Hardware Unboxed was in fact correct, that ASUS said that they were essentially canceling all of their RTX 5070 Ti products, and that this shift was part of a broader move by NVIDIA to massively reduce RTX 50 GPU production down to just a couple models and configurations. Now, their reporting was repeated by pretty much everybody in the tech press. This did cause a big wave of panic buying, which wiped out RTX 5070 Ti and some other NVIDIA GPU stock within hours. And as I said in our RAM prices video where we looked at this, the fact that a simple media report like this could sell out the entire stock in just a couple hours was evidence that the stock was extremely thin, which proved the report correct in the first place. Now, I know some people weirdly blamed Hardware Unboxed rather than NVIDIA for this. Folks, Hardware Unboxed does not make GPUs. NVIDIA does. So if there aren't enough GPUs, that's on NVIDIA. But why would NVIDIA even bother to lie and force ASUS to do the same as well? Here's my opinion. They didn't do so because they care about gamers' perceptions about their gaming GPUs. I think they did this to essentially protect their stock price, which is based on AI GPU production, not gaming GPUs. The reason they're limiting 50 series production in the first place is clearly because they can't produce enough Blackwell AI GPUs right now. But if investors started to think that NVIDIA was having problems producing those AI GPUs, which are responsible for basically like 95% of their revenue right now, that might crash their stock price. So in my opinion, that's why this appears to be happening. And the rumors are that NVIDIA is going to keep doing this until the latter part of 2026, where they will then reassess RTX 50 series production. But the big question, of course, is it going to get any better? In order for it to get better, we all know the AI bubble needs to burst. AI data center expansion, this is what is driving consumer hardware prices up. I do think we're at the beginning of the AI bubble bursting. Now, we saw that with the recent earnings reports from Microsoft and Facebook's parent company Meta. While their core businesses essentially remain profitable, they are spending themselves into a deep, deep hole with AI data centers. And nobody can figure out exactly how to make any money from AI. Dell said at CES 2026 that consumers don't want AI PCs and they aren't going to use AI in the marketing anymore because it just confuses their consumers. We also have fresh reports that OpenAI is going to run out of money by 2027, even as they race to raise another $60 billion right now. And the circular money machine of AI companies is reaching its limits. For instance, how is OpenAI going to pay Microsoft the $250 billion it owes them, and which Microsoft has already counted as revenue in its earnings statements? Probably not going to be able to get that money. So this is not going to go on forever, and a hard crash is likely coming. When that crash happens, you will see all the hardware makers pivot back to consumer hardware. They're all going to love you gamers all of a sudden again, but there will of course be a transition period before we get to better pricing. In fact, we've already seen Intel begin to make a hard pivot back to consumers with its Panther Lake launch, which featured extremely powerful Xe3 integrated graphics. Intel is basically a distant third to NVIDIA and AMD in AI, and they've essentially decided to quit trying to break into AI and put more focus on the consumer segment. This could be great news for gamers, especially as they announce that their newest Xess 3 upscaler will come not just to the Xe3 based iGPU and Panther Lake, but to all the previous generation GPUs like the B580 and A750. So don't count out Intel just yet, and honestly, it's made me feel much better about recommending their GPUs. All right, let's jump into our current recommendations for best GPU in February 2026 at every budget level. Remember to check the links down in the video description for current pricing and availability in your region. And we will, of course, be looking for the best GPU deals that we can find in February 2026. And we will link them down there as well. All right, starting with the best graphics card under $200 in February 2026, really kind of around $200, if you will. Now, this price point, it's all about getting the best cheap GPU in 2026 and minimizing the drawbacks, because all these GPUs have some drawbacks. The cheapest decent graphics card right now is the Arc B570 10GB for $199. Crazy, crazy cheap, if that's available in your region, by the way. It plays everything at 1080p high or 1440p medium settings just fine. Intel continues to show that they're going to continue to support this product with new XeSS 3 upscalers coming in the near future, and their driver support has been good, if not amazing, but continues to improve. And honestly, there's not really anything else on the new GPU market that makes sense. Let me know down in the comments if you want us to start adding in used GPUs to this segment again. All right, next up is the best graphics card under $300 in February 2026, which has a lot less graphics cards than last month. We add in the Arc B580 12GB and RTX 5050, as well as the 9060 XT 8GB, if we stretch up to $310. In my opinion, if you have a CPU that's at least as powerful as a Ryzen 5600 or i5 12400, I would likely go with the Arc B580 12GB. Is it worth $80 more than the Arc B570 though? Probably not, so I'd encourage you to probably save your money, as 10GB of VRAM is enough for 1440p medium settings, and the FPS is going to be very close to the Arc B580. I just think 8GB is definitely not going to age well, whereas 10GB should continue to be enough for these settings. All right, now let's look at the best graphics card under $400 US, and we add in the RTX 5060 and 5060 Ti 8GB. While these cards are certainly faster, I just don't know what we're really getting for our money here, as we don't pick up any real 1440p ultra settings GPUs because none of these have enough VRAM. So if we're stuck at medium settings due to VRAM, honestly, these cheaper cards all deliver playable performance, so it's kind of hard to justify spending extra money. But if you do really want to spend the money, I would probably pick up the RX 9060 XT 8GB. It uses the full 16-lane PCIe connector instead of just 8 lanes like the RTX 5060 and 5060 Ti, so it handles running out of VRAM much better, and it's about as fast as 5060 Ti in titles that are not VRAM limited. All right, moving on up to the best graphics card under $500 to buy in February 2026, and we finally find what I previously called the best budget 1440p graphics card of 2026 in the RX 9060 XT 16GB. It is a far better choice than the 5060 Ti 8GB or the 9060 XT 8GB GPUs, but it kind of feels insane spending another $120 for 8 more gigs of VRAM. But given the next jump up is another $100, I would say this is the best 1440p graphics card in 2026 if you want higher FPS. All right, jumping up to the best graphics card under $600, and we add in the RTX 5060 Ti 16GB. What is going on here? And the RX 9070 16GB. Also added in the RTX 5070 12GB at $620. If you want to spend more than the 9060 XT 16GB, which I recommend in the previous tier, what really makes sense here? Really just the RX 9070. It's closest to its actual MSRP. It's light years faster than the 5060 Ti, so just forget talking about upscalers. Kind of silly, since you can just run it natively faster than the 5060 Ti can upscale. And it has 16GB of VRAM. I really thought we'd see the 5070 12GB stick to around a $549 MSRP because it was selling so poorly that it had been well under that price. So at $620, it just feels like a do not buy along with a 5060 Ti 16GB. All right, jumping up to the best graphics card under $1,000 US. So we're gonna add in the RX 9070 XT 16GB at $720 and the insanely priced RTX 5070 Ti at around $1,000. But that price is likely going to go up as it completely vanishes off the market. Now, under no circumstances should anyone buy the 5070 Ti at that crazy price. The RX 9070 XT 16GB is definitely slightly overpriced, but seeing as you're getting RX 7900 XTX-like performance with better ray tracing and a way better upscaler in FSR 4, I think it's still worth it if you're looking for an upgrade or a new build in 2026. By the way, speaking of those 7000 series, I am seeing the RX 7900 XT at about $700 and the 7900 XTX at about $1,000. Those GPUs are just not worth it versus the current buying price of the 9070 XT. Looking at the best GPU for any price in February 2026, and we've got the ludicrously priced RTX 5080 at $1,400 US, but probably going up from there, and the insanely priced RTX 5090 at $3,700, but probably also going up as well. The RTX 5080 is 15% faster than the 9070 XT for double the price. So only get that if you want faster, but you can't fork over a kidney for the RTX 5090. Otherwise, spend money elsewhere because the 9070 XT, it's really, really fast. I'm not quite sure who exactly is buying the RTX 5090 right now, maybe AI modeling people, but what gamer watched it get all the way down to close to its MSRP briefly, but then keeps waiting as it skyrockets towards $5,000? I just don't know that any gamers are actually buying it, but let me know down in the comments if you think I'm wrong. All right, let's play everyone's favorite game. Should you buy now or should you wait? Well, listen, I have changed my opinion on the AI bubble since late last year. Let me know down in the comments if you want me to do like a deep dive video on how I'm seeing the bubble right now. I think it is beginning to collapse in real time. I was saying that I wasn't sure when that was going to happen. And I think there are tons of evidence right now that even the finance bros can't ignore anymore. Now, my prediction, it's now that we're likely going to see the AI bubble collapse sometime in the second half of 2026. My best guess here, that's going to happen with the next round of quarterly earnings reports in April, possibly one more quarter ahead in July. Heck, it could happen during some of the earnings reports right now. I was right on the money about the crypto mining fueled GPU shortage between 2020 and 2022 coming to an end. Remember, I told you it would end once Ethereum went to proof of stake and GPU mining ended. And I think I'm pretty right about this one too. But it's just a prediction, so if you want certainty, Radeon GPU prices, they're not fantastic, but they're not terrible either. And I think anyone would be happy in the long run with an RX 9060 XE 16GB or RX 9070 for 1440p gaming and an RX 9070 XE 16GB for high FPS 1440p or 4K. And if you're in the budget category, I think the ARC B570, it's great value at $199. It's 20 bucks below its MSRP. And even the $290 ARC B580 12GB, it's not bad either. So I would advise folks to buy now if they want. Don't wait. And unless you have money to burn, do not buy an NVIDIA GPU right now. All these graphics cards are linked down in the video description along with the best February 2026 GPU deals that we can find, and we are going to keep updating that list as GPU deals drop. So check those links for current pricing and availability. Of course, check the pinned comments for any big changes like new GPU launches, LOL, or game bundles. I didn't go into those. Essentially, they've all ended in January. We'll see if any new ones pop up. If you got value out of this video, please give it a like and of course subscribe for more cool PC content. Like, did you check out our recent Q&A where we talked about our AM4 CPUs like the 5800X3D and the 5500X3D coming to save PC gaming in 2026? And of course, check out our best Ryzen 9850X3D gaming PC build guide right here. Yes, you know the 9850X3D, it's the fastest, but what motherboard, RAM, and GPU do you need for it? Check them out, and we'll catch you on the next one.